Hello everybody, and today we have a new casting. We had the same group as last time from the Deal With It community against Team Excel. Now Team Excel is on the red team with a Mesmer, Elementalist, Thief, Engineer, and Guardian. While the Deal With It group is on the blue team with a Warrior, Guardian, Elementalist, Mesmer, and Thief. Wait a second. Alright, we have the same teams except the Warrior is switched out with an Engineer. Both sides have burst damage Thieves and Mesmers, have defensive yet condition damage Guardians, and tanky staff Elementalists that are working on support and taking down the enemy Trebuchet. Now I don't know when this started, but seriously last week every Kylo match had an Elementalist that was just bunker tanky, whose job was to take down that Trebuchet. And it's worked out really well. They just do not care that you're trying to defend that objective. They've got their earth armor, mist form, and they're just dancing around you, not caring that you're attacking them, while they destroy their Trebuchet as quickly as possible. Most of the time they're not taking much damage. If you can get in some damage, they'll just heal it back up with their heals and regenerations, and you just can't stop them. And both teams are going to have a problem with that. Now, the only difference is the Engineer and the Warrior. And the difference is going to be the Engineer's condition damage and the Warrior is flat damage. So it's going to be who's more effective. If they're in more team fights, that AoE damage is going to be more effective. But if the teams are split up, that Warrior's burst damage is going to take those opponents down so quickly that the condition damage just isn't going to be enough. Plus, with both sides having Elementalist, condition damage really isn't going to do too much. The Elementalist just provides too much condition removal, along with everyone else's condition removal for themselves. So in this situation, we're going to see Trebuchets being useless, condition damage being useless, and team fights being hard to find. So we'll see what happens and which team comes out on top. Let's get started.
Alright, cool.
Alright, and they're off, with 4 going mid and Mesmer going to the mansion. No, they're splitting off, or one's going to the clock tower, while one goes to the enemy Trebuchet to try to take it down as fast as possible. The other two are going to clock tower to see if they can go for a 3 cap.
Nothing at the trap.
Mansion is captured uncontested for the Mesmer, so he lays down a portal and goes towards mid.
Destroy the trap anywhere.
There's 3 mid. I'm gonna lose it. Stop it. Putting damage on.
Now there is only one at mid, and it's the Guardian, and he just got taken down. So the Mesmer's trying to get there in time, but he's already down, and now he's in a 2v1 situation, so he just backs off. Smart move. You need to know when you're just funneling into a train and giving them extra points. But now he's in a damage versus condition Engineer, and he's not able to get behind the Engineer because of all of his AoE damage, and work on distracting him with clones and getting him to focus on different targets other than himself. So already he's at half health, and the Engineer just starts chasing him down. Luckily he does do a good juke with his stealth, and is able to get away. He uses his portal to get out of battle as fast as possible. Now he just heals back up and goes back in for round 2, see if he can get a better opener than last time. And yeah, that's a better opener. In fact, the Engineer just runs away. He's like, nope.
What the hell burst was
Alright, and we have our Guardian back in the mid. So we have Guardian on Guardian, with the Mesmer trying to support, and the Engineer's back. But with the Mesmer able to use his support staff abilities, this could actually go in his favor. The Guardian is doing great damage, and with the support of the Mesmer, they are able to take down the Guardian.
I guess a stomp on this guy.
So now with the stability stomp, he's able to take down the Guardian, and it's only 2v1 versus the Engineer. But it looks like the Mesmer is leaving it to the Guardian, and he's heading towards his own Trebuchet.
I immobilized their LA for 4.
With the enemy Trebuchet repaired, they need to get on their own Trebuchet to start combating that damage.
And they're trapping us. That's really
Seems to be a miscommunication between the teams, but they got that all fixed. So the Mesmer's right on the Trebuchet, and the ceiling's open for him, so he can get a nice shot in. But it's too slow, and that Elementalist just came bolting for him. As soon as he saw that fireball, that Elementalist just zipped right towards him. He's able to get a few shots in, but he needs to get down. That Elementalist was already getting prepped for his assault, and now he's all shielded and buffed up, ready to take down the trebuchet. And as you can see, he is ready. He is not taking any damage whatsoever from the Mesmer. Wow, he just took a full
I'll be fine.
pistol phantasm and just did not care at all.
That's the wrong target, actually, on mine.
Oh my god, it's just depressing to see how much you cannot do to this Elementalist.
Did 22 stacks of bleeds. He's gonna heal right now.
And Elementalist takes down the trebuchet without falling below 80%. That's pathetic for a flat damage Mesmer. But it's really not his fault. It's just how well the Elementalist is built for that specific role. And they're going to have to react properly to that.
So Thief's down.
So Mesmer doesn't help out Windmill, sees it might be a lost cause, and tries to help out mid. Again, it's the same 2v1 he won earlier, so it's a good idea. Now he sees where the damage is coming from and let the Guardians duke it out while he focuses down the Engineer, who's already at half health. So the Mesmer's laying down good support, but they try to finish off the Guardian as fast as possible, but he is able to get a heal out beforehand. So now the mixed target is starting to not work in the blue team's favor, and they start focusing on the Guardian.
Immobilize this guy for 4. I'm gonna frenzy him.
They got a lot of stacks on him.
I'm down.
Alright, and the Guardian's taken down. The Mesmer's right behind him, but the other Guardian is able to stop the other Guardian, reviving the Mesmer in time to make it a 2v1 versus the Engineer. The Engineer's still charging right in, just because he sees the Mesmer's at such low health, but it's just a bait. He's just running into all those phantasms and traps, and he's just gonna be taken down.
This guy's dying with the full res.
But he is able to take the Mesmer down with him. The Mesmer probably should have healed a lot sooner and made it not such a hard bait, even though it worked out for him. But the Guardian is free to knock the Engineer down, and Mesmer's right back up on his feet. It was just a good fight for blue team.
Just stay on point.
I want to see what class that is. It's a thief.
Alright, and Mesmer is not going to help the fight for mid. They already have the point. The Guardian can defend. So he's going to try to repair his trebuchet. But it's going to take him a pretty long time since he doesn't have the portal set up. Mesmer's have the fastest way to repair a trebuchet because they can just portal right back to the trebuchet when they get to the repair kit. But in this situation, he does not have that set up, and he doesn't have any speed boost. So he's actually one of the slowest in this situation.
Put down catch-ups.
I rooted him for 4.
But he gets right back on his trebuchet. He sees that Elemental is coming straight for him already. So he's trying to get him on the way here.
Nice.
That's an incredibly hard shot to do. Well, he hit the building, okay. But is he going to hit the Elementalist who's bolting right for him? No, he isn't able to do any damage, but he tries to start fighting the Mesmer before he's able to buff himself up, which is a very smart idea. And he uses the Elementalist channeling ability as an opening for him to MOA right onto the Elementalist and make him vulnerable for a while. And yeah, you can see he's starting to lay out some good damage onto that Elementalist. He's falling below half health. Oh my gosh, he comes out of MOA just springing with tons of healing. How did he even do that? But instantly falls to 25% health and still heals again in like 5 seconds. How is he doing this? This is crazy. His sustain is just unstoppable. And now he's buffed back up and can't take any damage at all. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. 1200 from all those crits. It's just, Elementalist is just unstoppable. This is a crazy composition, and I don't know what people are going to think about this after a while. Because, yeah, he cannot get out much damage. Like, The Mesmer hasn't bothered to heal himself the entire battle. He's been focusing on working on his offensive cooldowns, and he's only at about 75% health,
Let me know if it
even though a lot of his abilities were AoE. But just got away scot-free, does not give a damn.
I got another one here at my point.
Alright.
Engineer.
Oh, okay.
screw it.
But no, that Mesmer's on a vendetta. That Elementalist must go down.
They could always catch up.
And it's not a bad idea.
South so easily.
They've got mid captured, and they need to work on that uncontested point which the Elementalist is heading towards. So it ends up working out.
I'm gonna charge that.
And they think they have the upper hand where it's a 2v2, but it ends up being a 3v2 in the blue team's favor,
He just missed for him. This guy's immobilized for 4. The NG is.
and they're able to quickly take the engineer down because he's pretty squishy.
Stomp on him.
Alright.
And now all that's left is that Elementalist. No, wait, we had the red team's Mesmer show up, and since he's going to work on trying to get on the point, blue team starts to focus him down.
Going down.
Smart idea. You have to be able to get everyone off that point so you can capture it as fast as possible.
I'm not. He invisible. Wait.
Oh no, the heal was interrupted. He wasn't able to get his ally up, so it's now a 2v2.
I'm blocking.
Nope, a third person has shown up. Looks like the Thief is joining the battle. So now it's a Mesmer, Elementalist, and Thief,
Hang on.
all defending Mansion. Mesmer was taken down, so all that's left is the Elementalist, who's just kind of stunning and running around. He is built like the red team's Elementalist, so he will survive for quite a long time, even though it's a 3v1.
Back here, there's 2 here. 3 here now.
So the Mesmer runs there as fast as possible to see if he can get there in time to keep that node at least contested. They are in the lead, and they need to keep that lead by keeping the node counts even or in their favor.
Getting on
Down.
this NG here.
I took down the Guardian at windmill, but there's
I
no
witnessed the
clearance.
NG. He's a.
20 seconds.
Looks like the blue team's Elementalist was taken down, but the blue team was able to take down the Thief soon after. So it is now a 2v2 for Mansion with a Mesmer and a Warrior versus an Elementalist and a Mesmer.
What's it called? Just
Alright.
And that constant AoE is just wrecking the Mesmer since he doesn't have Blink and can't get out of the AoE damage very easily.
Okay, I'm circling to mansion right now.
I want to see what's going on. Win.
There's a Guardian there.
But he is able to stay on point just barely to keep it contested while his teammates revive and try to get back in the fight.
Yeah.
Just let him have
At this point,
I'm trying.
both teams are basically zerging that one point. The red team is desperate to finally capture Mansion so they can try to come back from their point deficit. But the blue team is zerging it as much as possible with the rest of their team. Their Guardian is still at Clock Tower being unopposed, while everyone else is rushing for Mansion, doing as much as possible and staying on the point at all times.
Match him on point.
On my way back.
If they can hold out
Okay.
and keep the same amount of points flowing for each team, blue team will win either way, so they really don't care about capturing anything else, even though windmill is probably open. Blue team's running in there and dying and giving them points, but I don't know, some of them are surviving for a long time, especially the Mesmer, who's able to survive in a down state for such a long time and hold the point.
Yeah, just pile in and don't get on point for anything.
And wow, we're starting to see all those elites go off and everything's just going crazy in there.
Okay, looks like it's
But they're really not going for kills. They're going for damage output and surviving. You don't see anybody below half health on the red team.
I got one.
Blue team is just trying to show as much damage as possible, stun everything, trying to live. And they are able to pull out the lead just by distracting the red team for so long. Woo. This match was another extremely close game because both teams picked a target and stuck with that target forever. I mean, for the red team, I could see that being the problem because the blue team's Guardian was doing so well at defending mid, it was just never able to be in the red team's grasp, and they knew that. So they put all of their efforts into Mansion while having their Guardian protect Windmill. And so the red team reacted not as they should have reacted, but their logic was sound. I mean, it definitely worked for them. It was just, okay, Don't die as long as possible and stay on that point, because they're not changing their tactics, so we shouldn't have to either. Even though it would have been really easy just to have 3 people go to windmill, take on that conditioned guardian, and take that over, instead of having all of that craziness at Mansion go on for so long. Seriously, that was like a 4-minute battle. It was awesome to watch, but scary to be in. I mean, let's look at let's look at their points when they started that one last battle. All right, it is 300 to 398 when they start the battle for Mansion. So blue team has a 98-point lead at the moment. How close does that game finish out, though? 442 to 500. That means they gave up 40 extra points and kills instead of trying to react better to what the opponent was throwing at them. I know they won. They reacted that way because they were in the lead by so much. But in the future, you got to practice reacting smarter every time, just so you know how to react when it's really important to you, like in those paid tournaments or when ArenaNet starts having those monthly tournaments and stuff. I'm not sure what Red Team could have done. They really did struggle for that mid point. But honestly, in the footage, I never saw more than 2 people go for Clock Tower from Red Team. And the big problem for Red Team was that they were both condition damage. The Guardian was obviously throwing down burning marks and using condition damage to work down their opponents, while the Engineer was definitely condition damage, trying to add vulnerability, poison, and bleeds to his opponents. That's great. Vulnerability is awesome. It gives you more damage, but if you have no damage to begin with, that's not going to matter too much. Extra 20% of crap is still crap. So I guess that's that team composition you have to worry about, is that condition damage can be removed, especially engineered condition damage. They have other assets to their grenade kits and stuff that sets up for a good team or duo with a flat damage character. Now, if that Guardian was a flat damage Guardian, like Great Sword, a bit more offensiveness, he could have just started hacking away at his opponents, that 13 stacks of vulnerability that the Engineer can just rip on you easily, that would have devastated blue team. That's just something you have to think about when working on where your team goes during a fight in all map situations. That's why the blue team doesn't have Mesmer go Trebuchet first. He is a point guard at first. When he gets that point, or if he loses that point and just can't take it or hold it, then he's on the Trebuchet supporting his team. But really, a Mesmer is better at a support / point defending role because of his portals, not a Trebuchet support. Even though Trebuchet support can do a lot for his team, he does better being an extra man to hold the point. One, he is a good duelist, so he can fend off points from 1 or 2 people. So that makes him a good point defender from the side and gives your team more points to go with. And then he uses portals to be able to go to Clock Tower and support his team there. He does a really good job with those staff abilities that obviously turn those fights around for mid. That Guardian was able to rip through the red team's Guardian because of those Chaos Storms and extra stuns coming from the Mesmer. Now, if he was in the Trebuchet, yeah, he'd be able to do the same thing for Clock Tower. He'd be able to keep it from being taken because of all the fire he'd rained down on mid. And maybe he'd be able to help secure Windmill, which they were not able to do, actually. So it's kind of a pick your poison, but honestly, if you're a more offensive team and you're more confident in your team, it's better to have the Mesmer on point helping out rather than on the Trebuchet. And seriously, who wants to be on the Trebuchet now that those stupid Elementalists are just impossible to deal with? If I'm in that situation again, I might switch back to condition damage Mesmer. Just be able to handle those guys. That was ridiculous. He did not take any damage whatsoever. I mean, seriously, a 1200 damage from critical hits from a pistol Phantasm. That should be doing 3000 or at least 2500. That was a stupid amount of toughness he had, and just infuriating to fight. So this game was tough. It had a lot of hard decisions to make based off the team composition mistakes from the red team that they couldn't come back from. That basically led to one decision that both teams knew would work, and they ended up just duking it out for a while until the timer ran out. So both teams did really well, and I hope they learned something from this. That's all I really have to say about this one for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from this as well, and are ready to add tanky Elementalist to your team composition, obviously. It's mandatory now. Must have. Oh my god. I want it to go away so bad. Just give them more power. Let them be offensive. Let them not want to be tanky. Whatever. We dealt with it. I can deal with it. But thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons below, and I'll see you next time.